Hello, this is Yogeshwar again, and I'm back with a very interesting topic as usual. And today's topic is about remedies. Well, not exactly remedies, but about a very important mantra called Om Namah Shivay. And that mantra is dedicated to the great god Shiva and its importance and how it can be used to help us. And if we go into the ancient scriptures, and like I've already mentioned, that my videos will have some reference to the ancient scriptures and how the ancient scriptures help us. And if you go read certain scriptures, like in this case, we'll be getting some reference from the Skanda Purana. Skanda, as you know, is one of the sons of Lord Shiva. And this reference of this mantra is from the Skanda Purana. So it is associated with a little story, and I'm not sure, especially from people from the West may not be aware of this story, but this story is coming from Skanda Purana, and the story describes the great sage Lomesh, or some people call it Maharishi Lomash, who had actually assembled with a bunch of other sages. I shouldn't be saying a bunch of, with other sages, and he was asked to describe something which describes the greatness of Lord Shiva, a small tale or a small story which describes Lord Shiva. So sage Lomesh tells us a story, and this story is, like I said, from the Skanda Purana, and it described how Daksha, who was the father of Sati, who was married to Lord Shiva, once performed a grand yagya. And yagya is, for people from the West again who do not know what a yagya is, it's like a great homam or a great fire ritual. So Daksha, who was the father-in-law of Lord Shiva, had planned to perform a grand yagya in which he invited everybody, all the deities, all the great sages, except his own son-in-law, which was Lord Shiva. And when Sati, who was Daksha's daughter, came to know about it, that they have not been invited, neither her nor her husband, which is Lord Shiva, was not invited to the yagya. Still, she thought that maybe she should go and attend the yagya, and Lord Shiva tried to convince her that it's not proper to attend a ceremony or a yagya, especially where we have not been invited. But Sati said, no, well, I have to go. She didn't quite get convinced, and she went ahead to her father's home to attend the yagya. And when Sati reached her father's place, she saw a great yagya was being performed, and a lot of deities, well, not a lot, a whole range of deities were invited, and almost all the deities were invited, and almost all the sages, the great sages, had been invited. So what Sati saw was that she was very sad, because Daksha, her father, had invited everybody except her own husband and herself, of course. And she understood that it was done on purpose by her father. When her father Daksha saw Sati, he was not happy, and instead of being happy, on the contrary, he said that your husband is not auspicious, because he is the god of all kinds of powers, and which includes ghosts and spirits, and that is the reason why I did not invite him. And Sati, in front of everybody, became so insulted, and she felt so bad that she jumped into that holy fire and was immediately burnt to death. And all the deities were shocked, all the sages were shocked. And Shiva, by the way, had sent his Rudra Ganas, which is the army of the Rudra, which Shiva always has with him, with Sati for her protection while she was going to her father's place. And the Rudra Ganas informed Lord Shiva about Sati's death. Actually, as a matter of fact, Lord Shiva got the news from Narada, who is the Brahma Rishi of the gods, or the sage of the gods. He was so mad with anger, Lord Shiva was so mad with anger that he uprooted some hair from his head, and then he dashed the hair against a mountain, and a huge sound appeared, and a big giant of a person, or a Rudra Guna, you can call him, appeared, whose name was Virabhadra. And Virabhadra was ordered by Lord Shiva to go and punish Daksha for this deed, which caused the death of his wife and Daksha's own daughter, which was Sati. And Virabhadra proceeded to Daksha with a whole army of other Ganas, Rudra Ganas, to punish Daksha. And he immediately started the war against Daksha, and Daksha was held by a few sages. Sage Bhrigu was one of them, but they couldn't protect him. And ultimately Virabhadra, the great Gana of Shiva, the huge, powerful Gana of Lord Shiva with his army, he cut Daksha's head and threw it into the same fire where Sati was burnt and died. And therefore Daksha also died. And then the story goes on to say that Lord Brahma requested Lord Shiva to make Daksha come to life again. And Lord Shiva then went to Daksha's place and fixed a goat's head on his body. And this way Daksha became alive once again with the goat's head and his own body. And he asked for forgiveness from Lord Shiva. And then Lord Shiva blessed him and said, okay, well, he was so kind that regardless of the fact that even though his wife was killed, he still blessed Daksha and said, okay, well, you have to be good as well as performing the rituals. It's not just the rituals. So that is the greatness of Lord Shiva, that even after losing his wife, he still brought back Daksha to life and still blessed him. So Sage Lomesh, this story is being described by Sage Lomesh in the great Purana, Skanda Purana, as I've already mentioned. And this describes, and he describes, after telling this story to the other sages, that in case somebody chants the holy mantra Om Namah Shivay and begins his day by visiting a Shiva temple in the morning, gets cleared of his sins. And also people who get constructed a Shiva temple also gets a lot of good deeds, good blessings from Lord Shiva. So the idea of the story was how these mantras are connected with the great scriptures, like in this case the great scripture called the Skanda Purana. And when we talk of remedies, we can actually go back and look at the ancient scriptures, the Puranas, the Vedas, and see the remedies have a connection. So this tale is connected to this great mantra Om Namah Shivaya, which was told by Sage Lomesh to the other great sages, along with this story that, look, if you pray to Lord Shiva, if you construct his temple and pray to him, and if you chant the holy mantra Om Namah Shivaya, you can get rid of your sins to a great extent. And in Vedic astrology as well, our birth chart is a representation of our own karmas. And the idea to read Vedic astrology is to clear ourselves from bad karmas and to go towards good karmas. And to clean ourselves of bad karmas. This great mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, plays a great important role as described by Sage Lomesh. So I hope you enjoyed this little story from Skanda Purana. I hope you enjoyed this little description about the great mantra, Om Namah Shivaya. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll recommend subscribe to my channel and check out my website. There's a link below, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.